Google removes pages from their search rankings because they link to or talk about Project Veritas. I'm going to show you proof. I wrote this blog post on April 3rd, and it was immediately #1 on Google, Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo because it has keywords that no one is competing over, like Dennis Hackathal plagiarism. No one else writes about it, so it should be #1 on search engines. The next day, however, this comment was added, which mentions Project Veritas, Joe Rogan, and it links to this video involving Joe Rogan and Project Veritas. And this is on the Project Veritas YouTube channel. So you mention these people and you link to the Veritas YouTube channel, and then what happens? Your post no longer shows up on Google. So I will show you. Let's refresh this page just to show these things can change over time, so I want to show the time and the date. Okay, so on Bing, we're #1 search result. Yahoo, post comes up #1, no problem. DuckDuckGo, #1 search result. Google, where'd it go? The post does not show up. It's not on the page. Google will not return that result. This is deboosting. It's not that it's a little bit lower down on the page or something. It's not on the page at all. It used to be #1 on Google. Then this comment was added, and then it is no longer showing up on Google. And it's pretty funny. What Google is linking instead is this blog post called Stop Using Google Search. They're literally linking me telling people not to use Google search rather than linking this page that has a Veritas video. The reason they're linking this is it has the right keywords, because the previous post is the correct one, so it's linked in the titles there. So we can repeat this with other keywords. Let's use the exact title of the post. And on Bing, we find the post when we search for the title. On Yahoo, we find the post when we search for the title. On DuckDuckGo, search for title, find the post. Google, nope. Let's show some other posts instead. The Google is clearly avoiding showing this as a search result. Google does know the page exists. It's in their index, and I can prove it. Here it is. It shows up now when you put the quotes around it. So if you force it, if you give it like almost no choice, if you do a specific enough search, it'll still show the deboosted page. But normally it's just like, no, no, no. You just typed in some words. I'm definitely not showing you that page. Okay, now here's the proof though. You might think, oh, it's a coincidence that page just happened to get deboosted for some reason. That is not it at all. I know this because timeline. Okay. After I saw that it was deranked, I wondered, why is this post deranked? I didn't change the post. It must be one of the comments, because that's the things that changed on the page. The comments were added. So I hid the comment about Veritas. So this comment was no longer showing up on the page. I removed it. And then a few hours later, the post was #1 on Google again. Then I restored the comment like you see it now. And a few hours later, it was off of Google again. So you can control whether it shows up on Google or not by whether the comment is visible or not visible. So that shows that this comment is the factor that affects whether it shows up in the Google search rankings or not. This is very concerning. You could post about Veritas on a blog that you don't like to get them deranked. And it's political censorship. I'm going to show you some pictures. So here is the original records when it was on Google #1 when I first wrote the post. I don't have a screenshot. I screenshotted Yahoo and mentioned that Google and Bing did it too. But then after I got it to re-rank by hiding the comment, I took a screenshot and you can see that it's #1 on Google. So this screenshot is from this part of the timeline on April 5th. And it was #1 on Google again after I removed the Veritas comment. It takes a few hours. The Google search spider has to go find your page and notice there's an update. The older your page, the longer you have to wait before it gets updated. But because it was a pretty new post, it quickly got updated. So this is with the Veritas comment removed, number 1. And then right now, with the Veritas comment present, it does not show up. I also took a screenshot of this. I just checked the Google Search Console to see that they weren't showing any sort of penalties or something on the URL. So they're not admitting that they're penalizing it even when they penalize it. Now, interestingly, whether or not it's penalized depends on region and whether you're logged into Google. So right now I'm on a Canadian IP address in Toronto. Previously, it would be deboosted in the US. However, we're going to disconnect, and now I'm going to be on a US West IP address, and then we're going to reload the page. Both logged in and logged out, with the US IP address, it is no longer deboosted. With the Canadian IP address, it is still deboosted. When I tested this previously, and I have screenshots, it was deboosted for my US IP address as well. So Google's constantly tinkering with what they're deboosting in what regions. At some point, it was deboosted if I was logged in, but not if I was logged out from the same IP address. So it can depend on whether you're logged in, and it can depend on what country you're in. And it can depend on region in the country, because I've checked with friends, and while I was getting one result, they were getting a different result in the same country while we were both logged out. So even within the US, it can be regional. They'll treat you differently depending on where you are. So that sometimes, some places, they are not allowing Veritas content to show up in search results the vast majority of the time. You do a regular search and it doesn't show up. So US, just again, US, here it is, number 1 search result. But we connect to Canada, and it's gone. Refresh, gone. So Canadians are not allowed to find Project Veritas videos at the moment, apparently. And again, just to reiterate, whether this happens depends on whether this comment is on the page. So for the same US IP address, my normal home address, while logged in, so changing none of those things, it was number 1 on Google when I wrote it. It deranked when I added this comment. It went back to number 1 when I hid this comment, and then it deranked again when I showed this comment again. So there's a very clear pattern where Google is manipulating search results so that people will not find Project Veritas material.